Do you often wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? If so, you're not alone. Many people experience this peculiar disruption in sleep, and it can be more than just a minor inconvenience. In Buddhist tradition and various spiritual practices, these early morning hours are considered a special time, filled with profound meanings and opportunities for self-discovery. In this article, we will explore the possible reasons behind these awakenings, how they relate to natural cycles and the rhythms of our bodies, and what Buddhist teachings can guide us during these moments of introspection. Join us on this journey of discovery and reflection, and learn how to make the most of these quiet and powerful hours. Before we dive deeper into this topic, let's discuss why it's so important to pay attention to these early awakenings. Many people dismiss them or view them as a nuisance that disrupts their sleep, but these moments can actually be incredibly valuable for our spiritual growth and personal development. When we wake up at this hour, our mind is in a unique state between sleep and wakefulness, a state that, in Buddhism, is called bardo. This condition is considered highly favorable for meditation and deep self-knowledge. During this time, our consciousness is more receptive to subtle energies and revealing intuitions. Moreover, in traditional Chinese medicine, each organ in our body is associated with a specific time of day. The period between 3 and 5 a.m. is linked to the lungs and large intestine. This is when our body naturally cleanses and renews itself. Waking up at this hour may signal that our body is trying to draw our attention to a process happening within us. Let's delve further and explore the spiritual significance of these early awakenings. In Buddhist tradition, the time before dawn is considered especially auspicious for spiritual practices. Many monks and Buddhist practitioners intentionally wake up at this hour to meditate and pray, believing that the boundary between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thinner, allowing for a deeper connection with our true nature. Interestingly, similar ideas exist in other spiritual traditions. For instance, in Christianity, there's the concept of the wolf hour, the time just before dawn when spiritual forces are believed to be most active. In Islam, there is the practice of tahajjud, a voluntary night prayer recommended during these pre-dawn hours. So what does it mean to wake up between 3 and 5 a.m.? Here are some possible interpretations. Spiritual awakening. It may be a sign that your soul is ready for a new stage of spiritual growth. Perhaps you are on the verge of a significant realization or transformation. Need for purification. As mentioned, this time is linked to cleansing processes in the body. Maybe your body is signaling a need for physical or emotional detoxification. Message from higher forces. Some believe that our consciousness is more open to contacting the spiritual realm at this time. Perhaps you are receiving an important message or guidance. Call to action. Waking up at this hour could remind you that it's time to take action and make your dreams a reality. Sign of imbalance. From a Chinese medicine perspective, waking up consistently at this hour may indicate an imbalance in the functioning of the lungs or large intestine. Now that we understand the possible meanings of these early awakenings, let's discuss how to best utilize this time. Instead of feeling irritated by interrupted sleep, try to view these moments as a gift, extra time to work on yourself and your goals. Here are some practices you can try if you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m. Meditation. This is the ideal time for quiet, contemplative practice. Simply sit in silence and observe your breath. You might be surprised at how deep and peaceful your meditation can be at this hour. Visualization. Use this time to imagine your goals and dreams in as much detail and clarity as possible. In this liminal state, your subconscious is especially receptive to such imagery. Gratitude. Spend a few minutes reflecting on what you are grateful for in your life. This can be a wonderful way to start your day with a positive mindset. Breathwork. Practicing deep conscious breathing can help clear your mind and prepare your body for the new day. Journaling. Write down your thoughts, ideas, or dreams. Often this is when our most creative and intuitive ideas come to us. Gentle yoga or stretching. Light physical exercise can help awaken the body and prepare it for the new day. It's important to remember that there is no right or wrong way to use this time. Listen to your body and intuition. Some days you may genuinely need more sleep, and in that case, it's best to try to go back to sleep. On other days, you may feel a surge of energy and be ready to start your day earlier than usual. Now let's explore this topic from a Buddhist philosophical perspective. In Buddhism, there is the concept of bodhicitta, the desire to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings. Waking up in the early hours can be seen as an opportunity to cultivate bodhicitta. When we rise while most people are still asleep, we have a unique chance to direct our thoughts and energy toward the well-being of the world. We can use this time to send love and compassion to all beings, visualize a world free from suffering, or meditate on the unity of all existence. Buddhist practice also emphasizes the importance of mindfulness in every moment. Waking up in the middle of the night can be a perfect opportunity to practice mindfulness. Instead of automatically trying to go back to sleep or worrying about the day ahead, we can simply be present in the moment, observing our thoughts and sensations without judgment. Another key aspect of Buddhist teaching is the understanding of impermanence. Our cycles of sleep and wakefulness are also subject to change. Sometimes we sleep soundly through the night. Other times we wake up several times. Rather than feeling frustrated by interrupted sleep, we can use these moments as reminders of the impermanent nature of all things and practice acceptance of what is. Buddhism also teaches the importance of balance. If you consistently wake up at the same time during the night, it may signal that something in your life is out of balance. Perhaps you are working too much and resting too little, or conversely, you are not fulfilling your full potential. These nocturnal awakenings may invite you to examine your life and restore balance. Interestingly, there is a practice in the Buddhist tradition known as dream yoga, which teaches us to maintain awareness even while we sleep. Waking up in the middle of the night can be an excellent opportunity to practice lucid dreaming. When we awaken, we can try to maintain our awareness as we return to the dream state, which can lead to profound revelations and significant spiritual experiences. Now let's consider how these early awakenings might be related to our physical health. As mentioned earlier, in traditional Chinese medicine, the period between 3 and 5 a.m. is associated with the lungs and large intestine. If you frequently wake up during this time, it could be a sign that these organs need attention. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are not only connected to breathing, but also to our ability to release what we no longer need, both physically and emotionally. If you find yourself waking up at this hour, ask yourself if there is something in your life that you need to let go of. It could be past resentments, negative thoughts, or harmful habits. The large intestine, on the other hand, is related to our ability to absorb nutrients from food and eliminate what no longer serves us. On an emotional level, this might be connected to our capacity to process life experiences, learn from them, and let go of what no longer contributes to our growth. If you often wake up at this hour, pay attention to your diet and digestion. You may need to make some changes to your diet or lifestyle to support the health of these organs. Additionally, consider the quality of the air in your bedroom. The lungs are especially active during these early morning hours, so it's important that the air you breathe is clean and fresh. It might be helpful to open a window before you sleep or use an air purifier. Now let's talk about how these early awakenings may be related to our emotional state and mental health. In psychology, there is the concept of a window of vulnerability, a time when we are more receptive to our emotions and subconscious processes. This window often opens precisely during the early hours of the morning. If you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m. and feel anxiety or restlessness, it could be a sign that there are unresolved emotional issues or fears in your life that require your attention. Instead of trying to ignore or suppress these feelings, try to approach them with curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, What am I feeling right now? Where might these feelings be coming from? What are they trying to tell me? Acknowledging and accepting our emotions can bring relief and help us return to a peaceful sleep. These nighttime awakenings may also be related to our creative processes. Many artists, writers, and musicians note that their best ideas often emerge during these early morning hours. If you engage in a creative activity, try keeping a notebook and pen by your bedside to jot down any ideas that come to you during these moments. Now let's consider how these early awakenings can relate to our spiritual practice and personal growth. In various spiritual traditions, the time before dawn is seen as especially favorable for meditation and prayer. It's a moment when the energy of the world is quieter and purer, creating ideal conditions for deep inner work. If you wake up at this hour, try to use this time for your spiritual practice. This could involve formal meditation, prayer, reading sacred texts, or simply contemplating the meaning of life and your place in the world. Many people find that their meditations during this hour are particularly profound and meaningful. Additionally, this time can be ideal for working on your goals and dreams. Our subconscious is more active in the early morning hours, making visualizations and affirmations done during this time especially effective. Try to visualize your ideal life in all its detail, or repeat positive affirmations about yourself and your future. It's important to note that these early awakenings don't necessarily have to happen every day. If you wake up at this hour only occasionally, it could be a sign that your higher self or subconscious is trying to draw your attention to something important. During these moments, it's particularly helpful to pay attention to your intuition and inner voice. Finally, let's discuss how these awakenings might relate to our relationships and social life. Sometimes we wake up at this hour because our subconscious is processing some social interactions or conflicts that occurred during the day. If you find yourself often thinking about a person or situation when you wake up at this time, it could be a sign that you need to pay more attention to that aspect of your life. Perhaps there is a conversation you need to have or a relationship that requires your attention and care. In summary, these early awakenings can have multiple causes and meanings, ranging from aspects related to our physical health to emotional, creative, and spiritual issues. Taking advantage of this time to reflect, meditate, or work on our goals can be a powerful way to transform these moments into opportunities for personal growth. Now, let's consider how these awakenings relate to our spiritual growth and development. In various spiritual traditions, this time is especially favorable for spiritual practices and self-knowledge. If you regularly wake up at this time, it could be a sign that your soul is ready for a new stage of spiritual growth. You might be on the brink of a significant revelation or transformation. During these moments, it is particularly helpful to practice meditation, prayer, or other spiritual activities. Many spiritual teachers mention that in these early morning hours, the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thinner. This could be the ideal time to connect with your higher self, your spiritual guides, or the higher forces you believe in. Additionally, this time can be especially favorable for the practice of gratitude. When you wake up, try spending a few minutes reflecting on the things you are grateful for in your life. This can help focus your mind on a positive state and create a foundation for a happy and productive day. Now let's discuss how these early awakenings might relate to our life cycles and the natural rhythms in nature. Everything follows certain cycles, the change between day and night, the seasons, the phases of the moon. Our bodies also follow these natural rhythms, although in the modern world we often ignore them. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. may be a sign that your body is trying to synchronize with these natural rhythms. At this time, nature begins to awaken, the birds start singing, and plants begin to actively grow. Perhaps your body is simply attempting to align with these natural cycles. It's interesting to note that in traditional Chinese medicine, each organ is assigned a specific time of day when it is most active. The period between 3 and 5 a.m. is associated with the lungs and large intestine. If you often wake up during this time, it could be a sign that these organs need your attention. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are associated not only with the ability to let go of what is no longer needed, but also with emotional release. If you wake up at this time, ask yourself if there is something in your life you need to get rid of, perhaps old grudges, negative thoughts, or harmful habits. The large intestine, in turn, is related to our ability to absorb nutrients from food and dispose of what we no longer need. On an emotional level, this can be connected to our ability to digest life experiences, learn from them, and let go of what no longer contributes to our growth. Now let's examine how these awakenings relate to our creative energy and inspiration. Many famous artists, writers, and musicians have noted that their best ideas often come to them during these early morning hours. If you wake up at this time and feel a surge of inspiration, don't ignore it. Keep a notebook and pen by your bed to jot down your ideas. Or if you feel energized, get up and start working on your creative project. Many creative individuals find that their most productive work happens during these quiet hours before dawn. This time can also be ideal for practicing visualization and working with your intentions. When we are between sleep and wakefulness, our subconscious is especially receptive to images and ideas. Try using this time to visualize your goals and dreams, imagining them as vividly and in as much detail as possible. Now let's talk about how this relates to our emotional and psychological health. Sometimes we may wake up at this hour due to anxiety or worry. This could be a sign that there are unresolved emotional issues in our lives that require our attention. If you find yourself frequently waking up with a sense of anxiety, try using this moment to practice mindfulness. Instead of getting lost in anxious thoughts, simply observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This can help you better understand the origin of your anxiety and find ways to manage it. Additionally, this moment can be ideal for practicing self-compassion. When we wake up in the middle of the night, we often feel vulnerable and alone. Try to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend going through a difficult time. Now let's consider how this relates to our spiritual path and personal growth. In Buddhist tradition, there is the concept of bardo, an intermediate state between death and rebirth. However, this concept can also apply to any transitional state, including the state between sleep and wakefulness. When we wake up in these early hours of the morning, we find ourselves in a sort of bardo, a liminal state between night and day, between the unconscious and the conscious. This can be a very powerful time for spiritual practice and self-discovery. In this state, we may have access to deep levels of our subconscious that are normally hidden in everyday life. This could be the perfect time to practice lucid dreaming or to work with our deepest fears and desires. Moreover, this time may be especially conducive to meditation practice. Many Buddhist monks and practitioners deliberately wake up at this hour to meditate, believing that during these hours it is easier to reach deep states of concentration and enlightenment. Now let's talk about how this relates to our physical health and life energy. In Ayurveda, the ancient system of medicine from India, the time between 3 and 6 a.m. is called Brahma Muhurta, or the Creator's Hour. It is considered the most favourable time for spiritual practices, study, and creativity. According to Ayurveda, this time is dominated by sattva energy, which is associated with purity, clarity, and balance. This makes our minds more receptive to knowledge and spiritual practices. Additionally, during this time, our bodies naturally cleanse and renew themselves. If you wake up during this time, try to use it to practice pranayama or breathing exercises. This can help cleanse the energetic pathways in your body and recharge you for the entire day. Now let's consider how these awakenings relate to our subconscious and information processing during sleep. Our brains actively process the information received during the day, classifying memories and solving problems. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. may be a sign that your brain has completed an important cycle of information processing and has briefly pulled you out of sleep. This can be a wonderful opportunity to access information and ideas that are normally hidden deep in our subconscious. Many people find that they receive unexpected solutions or creative ideas during these moments. If this happens to you, try jotting down these thoughts, as they may prove very valuable. Additionally, this time may be ideal for practicing lucid dreaming. Lucid dreams are a state in which the dreamer is aware that they are dreaming and can control the content of the dream. Many lucid dream practitioners find it easier to enter this state during the early morning hours. Now let's discuss our intuition and spiritual guidance. Many spiritual traditions teach that in these pre-dawn hours, the barrier between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thinner, making us more receptive to intuitions and spiritual messages. If you wake up at this time, try to spend a few minutes listening to your inner voice. Ask yourself important questions and remain open to the answers that may come in the form of feelings, images, or sudden insights. Many people find that their intuition is especially strong during these early morning hours. This may also be an ideal time to practice channeling or communicating with spiritual guides if this is part of your spiritual practice. Many mediums and psychics note that they find it easier to make contact with the spiritual world during these hours. Now let's consider how these early awakenings relate to our personal life cycles. In psychology, there is the concept of the dark night of the soul, a period of deep spiritual and emotional crisis that often precedes significant personal growth. If you are going through such a period in your life, you might find that you frequently wake up in these early morning hours. This can be a sign that your soul is undergoing important internal processes, even while you sleep. Instead of feeling frustrated by the interruption of your sleep, try to view these awakenings as part of your growth and transformation process. Use this time for reflection and self-analysis. Ask yourself profound questions such as, who am I? What is my purpose? And what is important to me in life? The answers to these questions may not come immediately, but the reflection process itself can be very beneficial for your personal growth. Now let's discuss how these early awakenings may relate to our relationships and social connections. Sometimes we may wake up at this hour because our subconscious is processing some social interaction or conflict that occurred during the day. If you notice that you often think of a particular person or situation when waking up at this hour, it might indicate that there is a conversation you need to have or a relationship that requires your attention and care. This can also be a moment when we are especially sensitive to the energies of others. If you live with someone who also wakes up at this hour or is going through a stressful period, you may find that you also wake up during this time. In these cases, it may be helpful to practice energy protection techniques or simply send love and compassion to those around you. Finally, let's consider how these early awakenings relate to our connection with nature and cosmic cycles. Many ancient traditions teach that the energy of the earth and the cosmos is stronger and purer in the hours before dawn. If you wake up at this time, try to go outside if it is safe and possible, and spend a few minutes observing the stars or listening to the sounds of waking nature. This can be a wonderful way to reconnect with natural rhythms and feel part of something larger. Furthermore, many astrologers believe that during these hours, we are more receptive to cosmic energies. If you are interested in astrology, this may be the perfect time to meditate on current astrological transits or work with your natal chart. Now let's discuss how these early awakenings relate to our spiritual evolution and the awakening process. In various spiritual traditions, there is a period of profound spiritual crisis that often precedes a great spiritual breakthrough. If you are going through such a period, it could be a sign that your soul is undergoing important processes of transformation and purification. Instead of fighting against these awakenings, try to accept them as part of your spiritual path. Use this time for deep meditation or prayer. Many spiritual teachers say that it is precisely in moments of great discomfort and uncertainty that we have the greatest potential for growth and transformation. Therefore, if you feel restlessness or anxiety during these times, try to see them as an opportunity for deep self-discovery and spiritual growth. Now let's consider how these early awakenings relate to our life purpose and mission. Many people find that it is during these quiet hours before dawn that they gain clarity about their life path and purpose. If you frequently wake up at this time, try to ask yourself important questions such as, what is my life purpose? What can I do to improve the world? And how can I make the most of my talents and skills? Stay open to the answers that may come in the form of intuitions or sudden revelations. This can also be an ideal moment to visualize your ideal future. Imagine what your life would be like if you fully realized your potential and lived in alignment with your highest purpose. These visualizations can be a powerful tool for attracting the opportunities and resources needed to fulfill your life purpose. Now let's talk about how these early awakenings relate to energy balance in traditional Chinese medicine. The time between 3 and 5 a.m. is associated with the lung meridian. The lungs in Chinese medicine are associated not only with breathing, but also with our ability to let go of what no longer serves us, both physically and emotionally. If you frequently wake up at this time, it could be a sign that you need to pay more attention to your breathing and the process of letting go. Try practicing deep breathing or pranayama upon waking. This can help cleanse your lungs and energetic channels, as well as help you release old emotions or negative thoughts that may be holding you back. This time can also be ideal for practicing Qigong or Tai Chi, ancient Chinese practices that work with energy and help balance the energy in the body. Many practitioners find these practices especially effective during the early morning hours. Now let's consider how these awakenings relate to our creative energy and inspiration. Many artists, writers, and musicians notice that their brightest ideas and sources of inspiration come precisely in these early hours of the morning. If you wake up at this time and feel a creative impulse, don't ignore it. Keep a notebook and pen by your bed to jot down your ideas, or if you feel energetic enough, get up and start working on your creative project. Many creative individuals find that their most productive work occurs in these quiet hours before dawn. This time can also be perfect for practicing automatic writing or drawing, techniques that allow us to bypass our conscious mind and access the depths of our subconscious. Just start writing or drawing without thinking about the outcome and observe what comes out. You might be surprised by the depth and originality of the ideas that emerge this way. Now let's talk about how these awakenings relate to our subconscious and the processes of processing information obtained during the day. Our brains actively classify memories and solve problems while we sleep. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. may be a sign that your brain has completed an important cycle of information processing. This can be a great opportunity to access information and ideas that are typically hidden within you. During these moments of awakening, many experience epiphanies or solutions to problems that have been troubling them. If you find yourself in this situation, it's helpful to keep a journal by your bed to jot down any ideas or thoughts that arise. Often these ideas can be the key to unlocking difficult situations or inspiring your creative projects. Additionally, nighttime awakenings can provide an opportunity to reflect on dreams, which often reveal aspects of our subconscious that do not manifest in daily life. If you wake up and remember a dream, take a moment to write it down and reflect on its possible meaning. Ask yourself what emotions and situations in your life might be related to the symbols and events in your dreams. This practice can help you better understand your inner world and address any conflicts or desires that may be surfacing. On the other hand, Waking up during these hours can also be an opportunity for deep meditation or mindfulness practice. If you feel restless instead of fighting insomnia, consider dedicating a few minutes to deep breathing and meditation. This time can be especially conducive to achieving a state of calm and inner connection, allowing you to feel renewed and centered. In summary, early awakenings can be much more than a simple disruption of sleep. They can offer you access to your inner wisdom, creativity, and opportunities for emotional healing. The key is to be open to these experiences and use this time to connect with yourself, explore your thoughts and emotions, and reflect on your personal path. By doing so, you can transform what might seem like an inconvenience into a powerful tool for growth and self-exploration. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the meanings behind early awakenings and their connection to our spiritual, emotional, and creative lives. We hope you've discovered valuable insights that you can integrate into your daily routine. Before we wrap up, here are a few questions for you to ponder. Have you ever had an early awakening that brought about a new understanding of yourself? What practices could you adopt during those moments to deepen your connection with your subconscious and enhance your creativity? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future videos. Thank you for being with us throughout this journey. Until next time, dear friends.